Mano? A very good afternoon to all of you. This is Yogendra from Forsk School. Guys, can you hear me? Please confirm. Okay. So now I can see a lot of responses. Thank you, guys. Okay. And sorry for being a late start. I had some power issues here, so I was just trying to fix them. Power is back, and I think everything seems to be normal now, and we can start. So, guys, welcome again. And today we are at 5th day, right? So, guys, congratulations to all of you who have completed the 5 days program here, or would be completing today. And this is the last day for us for this program, and I hope we'll see you again in future programs as well, guys. So today is day 5, right? And I mark this as the last day. Okay. So and last day is basically not the last day for you. This is the start of your machine learning journey, basically, right? Because I'm sure that a couple of you might be, very beginner into this, and maybe this was a completely new course for them, completely a new stuff for them. And I think now things should be quite smooth for you. And obviously, this is not the end of the story. This is actually start of the story, right? Where now you have some basics with you, and along with these basics, you can continue to learn more, and probably make a career in this very hot segment nowadays. So guys, can we start now? Please confirm. Can we start? And you can see my screen as well, guys. Okay, Pallavi Priyadarshini ma'am saying yes sir. Okay, a lot of people again. Veera Bhargavi. Okay. Lucky scene. Good. So guys, today we are going to have two agendas, right? We have two items for today. First, I'm going to explain you that how to use k-means algorithm to perform clustering on the data, right? And if you remember from yesterday's discussion, what the clustering means to us, clustering means dividing your data, right, into multiple groups based on features only. There will be no label. Only what you have is a feature, and that feature can be one, the feature can be more than one, it can be more than two, right? So multiple features can be there. Based on the features only, you are trying to divide your data into multiple groups, and these groups are basically called as clusters. Inko hi hum clusters kehte hain, they are called clusters. So this is one cluster where we have some points inside it, and then in that so we have so many clusters. So based on features only, and obviously when you are only dealing with the features, right? So guys, can you please let me know that if you are only dealing with the features, right, will it be a supervised machine learning or will it be an unsupervised machine learning? What do you say? Okay, Mahak saying unsupervised, saying unsupervised. Yes, guys. So I think now you have got it, guys. Tanmay Sarwal saying Supreet Saini, Divya Gitanjali saying unsupervised. So this is actually unsupervised machine learning, right? And as I told you, under unsupervised machine learning, you have two subsections here. One is known as clustering, and the other is known as association. And I gave you the discussions around this, guys. To perform clustering, maybe you can use k-means, which is the most popular algo. and then maybe you can use DB scan as well, right? Maybe you can use hierarchical clustering as well, hierarchical clustering, right? So a couple of we have the most popular one is obviously algorithm. We are not going to cover it. So what are the libraries that can be used? What the deep learning means, right? So that would be there, guys. Let me check with my see. Okay. For I was on my mobile data. Uh, okay. So guys, can you please confirm that if audio is now okay with you, guys? Is the audio okay with you now? Okay, 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 okay. Good, good. Okay, right. Swati Lohia, can you please confirm again? You were saying that not audible. Swati Lohia, is it okay with you, Swati? Okay, fine. Yeah. Thank you, Raghav. So, so guys, along with the k-means, right? After k-means discussion, I will also discuss around the deep learning, what the deep learning means, and what are the various use cases where the deep learning is being used, and what are the various libraries that are being used for deep learning, right? So that would be a discussion around, but we are starting first with the k-means, guys, which is an unsupervised machine learning algorithm. So guys, are you ready to learn new things today, right? Okay, cool. So see this, guys, as I told you, right? So everybody, please focus on the screen and what I say, because both of things are very, very important, very, very critical in terms of understanding what the k-means is, and this is going to be a very interesting, algorithm to understand. What I said, you guys, that we are on the clustering today, and we are using k-means algorithm. So k-means is an algorithm which divides your data, right? So let's say you have a data like this, it divides your data into multiple groups, right? Based on the features only, right? So let's say you have 100 data points. So maybe 30 data points come under this group, which is cluster one. Let's say 40 come under this group, which is cluster two, and remaining kind of come in this cluster. So these are the clusters, and hundreds are the total number of records, total number of rows, right, into the data frame. And based on this, we are dividing this. So how come k-means actually divides your data, right? So first we have to understand the mathematical part of it, that how k-means actually divides your data into clusters, and that has to be very, very important, right? And once you understand the basics, and once you understand that philosophy, that how the data has been grouped using k-means, we will use k-means in the coding later on, right? Coding ko baad mein dekhenge. First we have to understand how the mathematics is working behind it. So see, guys, let's see. For example, guys, we have a data set, okay? And on that data set, we have two features. What are the features? One feature is where we are collecting the age, and the other feature is where we are collecting the weight of the person, right? So there are two entries in each row. What is the age? What is the age? Weight. What is the age? What is the weight? What is the age? What is the weight? What is the age? What is the weight? And so on, right? And now what we are doing, guys, we are trying to scatter this data for example, right? And how to scatter this data, guys? We will do one thing. We will take A's on the x-axis, and we will take weight on the y-axis, guys, right? And now using this mechanism where we are taking A's as a x-axis and weight as a y-axis, so now you can easily understand, guys, that for the first coordinate, right, this would be the x coordinate and this would be the y coordinate. Then the second point would be drawn where like this will work as x coordinate and this will work as a y coordinate. This will x coordinate, this will be y coordinate. This will be x coordinate, this will be y coordinate. And this way we can draw all of these points here like it. So our case is like age is also feature. So this can be called as a feature 1, and the weight is also feature. This can be called as feature 2. And now based on age and weight only, based on the age and weight only, we are trying to group the people, right? So guys, do you understand that what we are trying to achieve through key means? मैंने आपको एक data का explanation दिया है, right? I have given you some explanation that there is a data, right? Where on the x-axis we are taking age, and on the y-axis we are taking the weight. Guys, please बताएं जब पूछा जाए तो एक बार बता दिया करें, so that I get an idea. Thank you. जरूरी है, राइट? कम्युनिकेशन नहीं होता है तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, राइट? सो now guys, let me do a animated approach, that through a animation we will try to understand that how the k-means actually works, right? So see this now, see this, guys. This is the data distribution, right? So on x-axis you can consider this is the age, and on the y-axis you can consider it as a weight, right? So age idhar aa gaya, weight idhar aa gaya. So it's a two-dimensional data, and these points are scattered like this. These points are scattered like this, right? And now guys, we will use k-means to divide this data into multiple groups, right? Okay, now before we start doing it, one more we have to understand, guys, that every cluster or every group we create, right, has a central location, right? Has a central location, this and this. The central location is basically called as centroid. क्या कहते हैं इसको? Centroid. So this is the centroid of this cluster. This is the centroid of this cluster. This is the centroid of this cluster. And if you are from a physics background, and basically if you are into mathematics or engineering, obviously you understand the physics concept as well. Guys, do you remember that in 12th we had a concept called center of mass, right? So how to calculate the center of mass, right? So this centroid is basically the center of mass, right? In terms of physical properties. So how to calculate the centroid coordinates, right? How to calculate the centroid coordinates for any cluster? That is very easy, right? How we can calculate? Basically this represents the average x values and average y values. So what would be the x coordinate for this centroid? That would be like, age of this point, age of this number, age of this data, age of this data. So we are adding all the ages, right? So हम age को add कर सकते हैं, जितने भी point है ना उन सब की age को divided by total number. That will become the x coordinate for us. Similarly, what would be the y coordinate, guys? For that we will add all the weights, right? जितने भी point इसमें हैं, we will add weights and then divide by the total count, right? So so the x coordinate of any centroid, right, would be what? The summation of all x coordinates, right? Summation of all x coordinate, and then this, guys, right? And similarly, same happens with the y coordinate as well, right? So I'm trying to give you a kind of see this, so ये एक तरह से. So guys, do you understand what the centroid means in clustering? मतलब central location है, simple सी बात है, right? Yeah. Okay. Now guys, see what happens when we start using k means to divide your data. So पहले इस चीज को समझ लीजिए. K means to start with, K means to start with always puts the centroid at random location. Start करने के लिए वो सेंट्रॉइड को एक रैंडम लोकेशन से स्टार्ट कर देता है. सो रैंडमली प्लेस्ड होता है शुरुआत में. इट इज रैंडमली प्लेस्ड. सो सी दिस गाइस, this is the data distribution where we have a A's and where we have the weight, and now we are adding the first centroid, right? मान लेते हैं for example, for our explanation purpose, we want to divide this data into 3 clusters. अगर मुझे ये डेटा 3 क्लस्टर्स में डिवाइड करना है, if I want to divide this data into 3 clusters, how many centroids we should have, guys? If I want to divide this data into 3 clusters, how many centroids I should have? I should have 3 centroids, right? Because corresponding to one cluster, I need 1 centroid. And if I want to divide this data into 3 clusters, I need to have 3, centroids. So guys, I'm going to add the first centroid that would be randomly placed. So I'm adding the first centroid. Because अभी एक ही centroid है, इसका मतलब पूरा का पूरा data एक ही cluster का part है. Because only one cluster, one centroid is there. So obviously the entire data is part of the one cluster only. Okay, now I'm going to add the second centroid, guys. So I add the second centroid. That is again randomly placed. And now because, right, now because you have put in 2 centroids, right, Sriharini, because now you have put in 2 centroids, this data divides into 2 groups now. So now you can see one blue group is there and one, kind of a red group is there, guys, right? Okay, how come this boundary has been drawn, right? How come this boundary has been drawn? So drawing the boundary is pretty simple, guys, right? Drawing a boundary is pretty simple. And how come this is very simple? Let me explain you this concept. So guys, what we did, right? हमारे पास, we have a couple of points here, 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 and here, 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 and here. And now we are placing one centroid here and placing one centroid here. So these are the centroids, right? So now how to divide the data now, right? So how that boundary has been drawn. So see what happens, guys. A straight line is drawn between the 2 centroids. So what is the step, guys? To draw the decision boundary or to draw that boundary, right? We draw a straight line to connect these centroids. And then what we do, guys, we bisect this line at 90 degree beside. So, this is equal length and, this is equal length, right? And we divide this, we bisect it at, a 90 degree. And, this becomes your boundary, right? This is your boundary, right? So, either first, this becomes your cluster 1 and this becomes your cluster 2, right? So this is your boundary, guys. So that's what, is there, you can see, guys. Okay, but we want to add one more, right? Because only 2 centroids are added so far. We will need to add one more centroid. So I add one more centroid, right? So now easily you can see this, guys, right? Again, how the boundary has been drawn. So again, between this centroid and this centroid, this is, a line which is bisecting. Again, this is the line bisecting, and this is completely random, guys. So if I restart again, right? If I restart again, see this, guys, I add the centroid, added randomly again. I added the one more centroid and I added one more centroid. So guys, can you, see that this is a completely random placement? Guys, do you agree with me now that initially, right, what we are doing, we are putting our centroid at a random location to start with, right? And now, guys, what is the next step, right? What is the next step in that case? Okay, now, guys, if you see, guys, do you agree with me, right? Right? So guys, can you see, guys, that this is the boundary which has been drawn, like by, bisecting the line between this red centroid versus blue centroid. And similarly, you can see, guys, that this boundary has been drawn between, a red centroid and the green centroid, right? So this is the boundary. Manisha, do you understand now, right? So this is how, the 2 boundaries has been drawn, right? Okay. Okay, now guys, a next question coming to up, please, you have to listen it very carefully. Now, next question coming to you guys from my side is that, guys, do you agree that this centroid, right, which has been randomly placed, is actually, at the right location? Is it at the right location? What you suggest, guys? Where should be its actual center of mass? I think it should be somewhere here, because if you take all the x coordinates of these points and add them, and you take all the y coordinates of these points, right? So somewhere in between it should be there, right? Similarly, like it should be somewhere here, and for this cluster as well, I think that should be here, right? So as a next step, guys, right, in k-means, right, as a next step in the k-means, what we do now, we calculate the actual location of center of mass. So how to calculate the actual location? Obviously, we can average out all the x, coordinates and y coordinates for this cluster, average out all the x coordinate and y coordinates for this cluster, average out, right? Average matlab sum, right? And then, we'll find that this is the location somewhere here, and somewhere here. So as a next step, what happens now? K-means will now move these randomly placed centroids to their actual location now, guys. So now we have to update the location of the centroids. So now we will move them, right? So we will actually move them now. And now we move them, guys. What happens, guys? As soon as you move these centroids to their right location, your boundary gets changed. Because now, as per the new location, that should be the boundary. And that should be the boundary between these two centroids, and that should be the boundary between these two centroids. So इनके बीच में ये boundary, इनके बीच में ये boundary, इनके बीच में ये boundary. Now, because, guys, now you can see, because of this change in the boundary, couple of points which were earlier in the red cluster, now they are part of the blue cluster. You can see these points, they were earlier in the red cluster. Similarly, couple of points which were in the red cluster earlier, now they are in the green one, right? And that may happen with other clusters as well, right? So this point which was earlier into the blue cluster now becomes the part of the red cluster, because there has been a change in the points now, right? Couple of points have been removed from this cluster and they added to this cluster now and this cluster now, right? So now what will happen, guys? We have to recalculate the actual center of mass again. हमें वापस से वो center of mass का calculation फिर से करना पड़ेगा, because now this is not the right location, right? So what I do now again, right? Now I again move these centroids to their right location. So now I again update the centroids. And now if I update again, there is a change in the boundary. And if there is a change in the boundary, there is a change in the actual location, right? So I keep on updating these centroids and, updating these centroids and redrawing the boundaries, updating the, centroids and redrawing the boundaries, updating the, and this goes on. Where my k-means algorithm will terminate. कहाँ पे खत्म होगा? When we see there is no change now, right? There is no update of the centroid anymore. Now you cannot move them, because now finally they have reached to the right location. अब उनको वहां से move करना possible नहीं है. And if there is no further movement, there is no change in the boundary. And if there is no change in the boundary, that means this is the final clustering. And now you can see, guys, right? Now there's no change. So this is the final cluster, this is the final cluster, and this is the final cluster. This is how exactly a k-means algorithm works. And if you want to write a programmatic approach around this, what is happening, guys? How do you see the implementation in Python? This seems like, while delta x is not equal to 0, right? What we are doing, while the delta x is not equal to 0, we keep on update the centroid, right? Update the centroid, we move them, right? We move them and right, and reassign the points. Reassign means redrawing the boundary, right? Redrawing the boundary. And this keeps on going, right? As long as we have a change, right, into the location. जैसे ही delta x 0 हुआ, there is no further movement of the centroids, this while loop becomes false, and we are out of the algorithm, and what we get is a final clustering of the data. Guys, did you get it, how the k-means is working? समझ में आई कहानी? Right? Okay. So, again, let me, one more time, actually, just give you a one more time animation that how we are exactly doing the k-means, and that will make you, completely understand. So I'm going to restart again, guys. See this, right? And now, see, for example, we have, this is the distribution of the data points, right? So there you see we have x-axis here and we have the y-axis here. So it's a two-dimensional data where feature 1 is getting on the x-axis and feature 2 is getting on the y-axis. And now let's say we want to divide this data into two clusters, for example, right? So what happens in that case, guys? To start with k-means algorithm, we need to put two centroids at the random location. That initial location is completely random. So we add one more centroid here and one more centroid here. That is completely, random, guys, right? That is completely random. So I'm going to add it again, so now you can see they are at different location now. And now how this boundary has been drawn, कि कैसे decide हुआ कि ये वाला cluster अलग है, ये वाला अलग. So what we are doing, guys, virtually we are drawing a line here connecting these two centroids, and then bisecting that line. Bisection का मतलब dividing the line into equal parts, right? And that makes the a boundary for it. And now, guys, what is the next step? We need to move on these centroids to their actual location. And what will be the actual location? इस क्लस्टर में जितने भी पॉइंट्स हैं उनके एक्स कोऑर्डिनेट का एवरेज निकाल दो, वाई कोऑर्डिनेट का एवरेज निकाल दो. दैट वुड बी द एक्चुअल लोकेशन. एंड सेम हैपेंस विद द रेड क्लस्टर. सो वी नीड टू अपडेट द सेंट्रॉइड्स नाउ. And now we keep on updating the centroids because now there is a change in the boundary, and as there is a change in the boundary, right, so actual xy location of the centroid will have been changed. So we keep on updating these centroids, right? Update the centroid, reassign the points or redraw the boundary, update the centroid, reassign, update, reassign, update, reassign, update, reassigns. This goes on, guys, right? It chalta ja raha hai, this goes on and this goes on, so probably I think when we have a horizontal kind of a distribution, I think that should stop. So if it goes on, let's say continue. So I think there is no further movement, right? So now you can see this is how you divide your data using k-means into multiple clusters. As of now, we divided this smiley face data distribution into two clusters now. Viswajit Tripathi, right? So this is how. अब तो clear हो गया सभी लोगों को जो भी लोग बच गए थे, right? So this is how you do it, right? Now, now, guys, yeah, Raghav, like I was just saying, delta x means location change. I was not talking about the x coordinate and y coordinate separately. I was just saying location change, right? Kitna distance hai. So now, guys, how to do this, right? How to do this, right? Programmatically. अब हम k-means को use कैसे करेंगे, right? That is the important part. So for that understanding, guys, what I have done, please have a look. There is a CSV file, right? There is a CSV. Now, actually, I have got a file for you. Two features. So this V1 column as the age column and V2 column as the weight column. So guys, can you see, guys? There are only two columns in this data. And both of these columns are working as a feature for us, right? The first column can be considered as, let's say, age, right? Or maybe, don't go into the age and weight kind of a classification. We can say that this is X coordinate and this is the Y coordinate, right? So every point has X and Y coordinates. So this is the first point in the data. This is the second point in the data. This is the third point in the data. This is the fourth point in the data. This is the fifth point in the data, and so on. So I think totally we have around 1500 or how much it is. Oh, it's more than that. So 3000 data points are there, and every data point has a x coordinate and y coordinate, and both of these are working as a feature. Guys, is it clear? Is the data clear with you? Right? So weight is not negative. That's why I told you guys that don't go into the age and weight kind of a classification, right? Santoshini, just consider this as a x coordinate and this, as a y coordinate, right? And this data has been, downloaded from a website called UCI repository, guys. There is a very popular repository on the internet from where you can get the data set for your practice as well. UCI repository, right? So, this is there, right? And now, guys, what we are trying to do now, we'll use this data and divide this data into 3 clusters, right? And what is the use of k-means algorithm? I will explain it later on. As of now, guys, please understand that how to use this. It has got a very important, very important actually use. See this, guys. Yesterday we imported a couple of libraries, and also I'm just copying this, a code, and we'll use into day 5 code. So you see, guys, as usual, we are importing pandas, numpy, and matplotlib. That's there, guys, right? And we are, loading the data now. So what is the CSV file name, guys? Can you know? This is xclara.csv. So I need to change this Caesarean to xclara, right? So this is, .csv, guys, and we need the data frame. See this, right? We read the data frame, and we can print the data frame now. See this, we print the data frame now. This is V1, this is the first column, this is the second column, this is the set of x coordinates, and this is the set of y coordinates. In total, we have 3000 rows and 2 columns into the data, right? Okay, now guys, I want only the features from this data. मुझे क्या चाहिए? I want only the features from this data. So how to get the features from this data? Guys, how to get the features, right? Because the label is not there into the data set. So how I can do this, guys? df, okay. And then what I can do, guys, I can use a iloc method, or maybe I can use this method as well, right? Can I use this, guys? V1, that is the first coordinate, and comma, then this is the V2, right? So this is the name of my first column, this is the name of my second column, right? So that will give you the data again, right, from 2 columns, because I need both of the columns, because both of the columns are working as a feature. But as you can see now, even the index values are coming. So what I need to do, guys, I need to go for dot values, right? I need to go for dot values. And now you will see, guys, the index location or that indexing has been removed now, and we are only left with the actual data. And now you can see this is V1, this is V2, right? This is V1, this is V2, and so on, right? So guys, do you agree with me that this way we can load the features from the data frame? Guys, do you agree with me? I think it should. It is very clear now, right? I could have used the iloc method as well here, right? iloc is also possible. मैं iloc use कर सकता था यहाँ, right? Guys, can we draw these points the way we were drawing in the animation? Can we draw these points? Yes, I can draw the points. For that, I will need the x coordinates, values in a separate, kind of a variable, and I will need the V2 values, like, in a separate column. So how to do that, guys? So see this, guys, listen here what I'm saying. I'm on the console now, guys. Features print kiye maine, so I'm printing the features now. And to get the values from the first column, guys, what to do, guys? Okay, I use this square, a bracket here, and now in the square bracket I'm using comma. Before comma, you say I need all the rows, and now you say that you are only interested in the first column, right? The first column. So I will just say 0. So that will only pick the values from the first column, guys, right? And similarly, if I just make it 0 to 1, right, this will give me the second column value. So you can see, guys, this is 2.07. Where it is coming from? It is coming from this, right? And similarly, this value is coming from this, right? So this way, you can even from the features I separated out the x coordinates and y coordinates. So now, guys, I'm going to use plt dot scatter, if you remember, right? Plt dot scatter. And now we need to give the x coordinate values first. What are the x coordinate values? These are the x coordinates. I copied, guys, from here and paste it here. See this? And what are the y coordinates? So this is the y coordinate, guys, right? And see, and now we can plot them, guys. See this? Okay, we're plotting them. Scattering basically. Okay, we got it, I think. Oh, we got it, damn right. Guys, now, can you see the distribution of these points is like that visually I can easily figure out, visually by looking at the data, a distribution, I can easily figure out that this data is obviously divided into 3 clusters. Guys, do you agree with me? Right? That by just looking at the data visually, so far we have not used k-means, right? It is just a loading of the data using pandas, right? Getting the features from the data frame, right? And just scattering the points, right? We have not used any k-means algorithm, but just looking at the visualization, हमें just देख करके लग रहा है कि यार ये data के तो 3 cluster बनने चाहिए. That is our visual, interpretation. But what happens if we go for k-means and divide this data, right? Programmatically divide this data into 3 clusters now. So guys, I'm going for a k-means now. So first we need to import the k-means library, right? Or k-means class. So how to do that, guys? From sklearn.cluster, right? I'm going to import k-means, right? So this is the k-means import, guys. So this is k-means, guys, okay, right? And now, guys, as a next step, what I need to do, I need to create an object, guys, right? If you remember, we are always doing this stuff. Whenever we import a class, we always go for creating a object. So k-means, right? We are going to call the constructor. And now while calling the class, a constructor, I need to specify that how many clusters you want to create out of your data. That I need to pass on, guys. So what I will say, an underscore clusters, that is, see this, and I say 3. So guys, do you agree with me that this time we want to use k-means to divide our data into 3 clusters, and that's why I've given this value as 3, right? I've given this value as 3. And maybe just for one more parameter, you can specify that okay, you can leave it. So guys, we are creating 3 clusters of the data, and now I create an object right out of this. So I say k-means. This is the way, guys, I have created an object for you. But the data is not given to it yet. अभी तो सिर्फ हमने उसको ये बताया है कि भैया तेरा काम ये होगा कि whenever a data is given to you, whenever the data is given to you, you need to divide that data into 3 clusters. Okay, then the object says, okay, yes, I'm ready, because I've already given this information that how many clusters he has to form. But the data is not right. Guys, you can change it, right? If you want to create 5 clusters, you can make it 5. If you want to make it 2 clusters, you can make it 2. You want to create 10 clusters of the data, you can make it 10. So how many clusters you want out of your data, right? And I will answer this question, guys, that why I have taken 3 here, right? मैंने 3 ही क्यों लिया, right? वैसे visually मुझे पता चल गया था कि 3 clusters बनने वाले हैं. But अगर मैं data को visually नहीं देख पाऊँ, if I'm not able to see it visually, how I will take, right? Take that number. So I will take one more discussion that why I took 3 only, why it is an optimal number. How to find out that what should be the right number of clusters in a data, that is the second question. But as of now, I'm just explaining how to use k-means. So guys, do you agree with me so far? Are you with me? Do you copy? Right? Okay. So guys, this is the way I have created the object. And now to, give the data, right? Now I need to give the data to this. So kaise denge data? So we use the K means that is our object name. So guys, remember capital K and M means the class constructor, right? But I'm using this object name. So this is the object here. K means dot. I'm going to use a method called fit underscore predict, right? And in that method, I will only pass on the features, guys. As of now, you have seen in the regression, guys, that we passed on features and label both. And even in the classification yesterday, while using KNN algorithm, we passed on the features and the label both, right? But this time, because we are under unsupervised machine learning, so we are only giving the features here. But what it does, what it gives back, right? So we have to check that. So I'm going to store these, values in a variable, and that, let's say the name of that variable is prad underscore cluster, right? Prad means predicted, and cluster. So see guys, and you have to tell me that what exactly it tells us. So guys, I'm calling this, see this, I'm calling this, okay? Okay, it is doing something. And now see guys, I'm printing what has come under prad underscore cluster. Isme kya values hui hain? Okay, we got some 0, 1, 0, 1 something guys, right? We got some values here, right? So, exactly what we have got, see this, how to, okay, go there, we go there and we'll look at this data, because all the values are not visible there. So I go there in the variable explorer and double click on this, and there you see, and you see guys, right? We are getting, a 0, and, 0, 0, most of the time it is 0, you can see guys. And now after that, we have most of them are 1, right? And in total, we have got 3,000 values here, right? In total, we have got 3,000. Even the 2 is also there, guys. So, कुछ values 0 मिली हैं, कुछ values 1 मिली हैं, और कुछ values 2 मिली हैं, not beyond that. That is the last number. So 0 is there, 1 is there, and 2 is there. Guys, can you let me know that what it represents? What is the meaning of 0 here for a particular data point? What is the meaning of a 1 here? And what is the meaning of 2 here? Guys, right? What is the meaning of 2 here? That is very simple, guys. It is very simple. It is saying that your first data point, right? Your first data point has been assigned to cluster ID 0, right? Your second data point has been assigned to cluster 0 again. And now this data point, which is at row number 29, has been assigned to cluster 1, right? And similarly, you can see other values as well, right? That this data point has been assigned to cluster 1, and then finally couple of data points, assigned to cluster 2. क्यों 3 ही cluster तो बनाए थे हमने? We created 3 clusters, and now your data has been divided into 3 clusters, and किसको कौन सा cluster मिला? That is the output here. So it is just saying that your first data point, right? Which one? So let me print those features now, guys, for you, right? So we print the features. We print the features here, right? See this features. So it is saying, guys, that this number, right? This coordinate has been assigned to cluster 0. This also has been assigned to cluster 0. This also has been assigned to cluster 0. And this last wala has been assigned to cluster 2. The second last wala has been assigned to cluster 2, and so on. So guys, is that clear that what the number we are getting when we call this method fit underscore predict? Guys, are you clear about it? Right? Yeah. अब हमें जो चीज देखनी है, can I see that how many points have been assigned to cluster 0? How many points have been assigned to cluster 0? Can I check that, guys? Yes, I can, check, we can check that. So see this, guys, how to do that. Uh, See this. I do pred cluster should be equal to 0. मतलब मुझे सिर्फ वो values दो जिनमें क्या आया है pred cluster is 0. See this, guys, see this. It is giving me a true, true, false, false. Matlab, why it is giving me a true, false when I do write this condition? It is just saying that which record is 0 and which record is not 0. If the record value, if the pred cluster value is 0, we will get a true in that row, right? If that is not 0, we will get a false, right? So we can use this filter, right? We can use this filter to get the values from the features, guys. So अब मुझे features में से सिर्फ वो values चाहिए जो cluster 0 को assign हुई हैं. See this, guys, how we write it. From the features, right, out of the total data, I want only those points which belong to cluster ID 0, right, which belong to cluster ID 0. So that would be there, guys. See this, these are the total points. Can I check the length, how many points they are? In total, how many points they are? So I can go for an alien method, guys, right? I can go for alien method and see this. Total points, so 3000 hai. So out of 3000, 899 are belonging to cluster 0. Okay, how many belonging to cluster 1? So just we need to make this 0 to 1. That will give us that out of a total 3000 values, 1149 values are belonging to cluster 1, and similarly I just need to make it 2. That way we see this, right? So see this, guys, this is an important point here. If you are okay with pandas, you can clearly see this, what is happening here, right? So that will give us see this, I'm just saying here, so that will give us the points in cluster 0, the points in cluster 0, right? Similarly, this is about points in cluster 1, right? So points in cluster 1, that is there. See this, guys, and this is about points in cluster 2. So this is here points in cluster 2, right? Guys, do you agree with me so far? Are you okay, guys? Okay. Ninja, so many days, after so many days you are back. Ninja, right? So see this, we have this. Okay, guys, when we are running this command, we are getting x and y coordinate both, right? हमें x और y दोनों मिल रहे हैं उन points का जो कि cluster 0 से belong करते हैं. See this, we are getting both column values. Right, we are getting both the column values. Okay, now, right, see now, guys, if you are only interested in getting the values from the first column, you just need to make one change, guys. If you're only interested in getting the values in the first column, then after the comma you just need to apply 0, right? इससे तो दोनों कोऑर्डिनेट आ रहे हैं, बट जब कॉमा लगा के 0 बोलेंगे तो सिर्फ 0th कॉलम की वैल्यूज आएंगी, राइट? और इसको यहाँ पे कॉमा के बाद 1 कर देंगे तो यू विल गेट द y कोऑर्डिनेट ओनली, राइट? So see this, guys, इसको कैसे पढ़ते हैं? That from features give me the values which belong to pred cluster 0 and give me only the x coordinate, right? So see this, guys, that will give us only the first column values. See this, that will give us the first column values only. And similarly that will give us the second column value. So ये float में representation है, but that's all okay. We can understand that part. So guys, are you okay so far? Ki kaise how I'm just doing the filtering, you know, that concept comes from pandas basically, not a big deal. Okay, now guys, uh, it is not, you know, uh, you know, uh, it is not, some of the coordinates are in the negative range. That's why you can see some of the values in negative, some of the values x coordinate, y coordinate are in the negative range. That may happen in the geometry, right? So see this, guys. Okay, now guys, it is not always necessary that you only have two features. You can have more than two features. You can have 5 features, 10 features, 100 features, and still you can use k-means. But obviously, if you have the data in on 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional, if you have 4 features or 3 features or 6 features, you will not able to draw them using matplotlib. अभी तो हम क्यों कर पाए? Because only 2 features were there, so I took x-axis and y-axis and I was done. 4 features को कैसे लूंगा? So obviously drawing will not be possible in that case. Okay guys? Now can you see guys, अभी तो ये तीनों cluster एक ही color में है. Can we divide these 3 clusters into different colors? Can we give a different color to them? Yes, we can give a different color to them. So how to give a different color to them, guys? So see this, how to do that, guys. Now, because we know that these are the points which belong to cluster 0, right? These are the points which belong to cluster 0. These are the x set of values and these are the y set of values, right? We can use now plt dot scatter, right? And pass on, plt dot scatter. See, okay. And pass on these set of x values here. So these values here, right? And the y set of values here, right? See this. See this. Okay, we got it. And let's say we want to say कि भैया this color has to be blue, right? So I will say C is equal to blue. C stands for color, guys, right? In matplotlib. So this has to be blue. And I can also, make a label that this is my cluster 1. So I can say this is my first cluster, right? So first cluster. So this is my first cluster, right? So see this, guys. I'm just taking this code from this so that I can write other lines of code. So इससे तो सिर्फ कौन सा cluster दिखाई देगा? इससे तो सिर्फ हमारा cluster, जिसका ID 0 है वही दिखाई देगा. What about the other clusters? I can use this code. So यहाँ पे I can use this, guys. See this. कितने कोड लिखने चाहिए? ऐसे 3 लिखने चाहिए. Why? Because ये तो cluster 0 के लिए हो गया, ये cluster 1 के लिए कर देंगे, इसको 2 के लिए कर देंगे. Similarly, we can make changes here as well, right? So that belongs to 1 and that belongs to 0. इसको हम लोग कर देते हैं let's say color red में, इसको कर देते हैं हम color, we can make it in green color now. And accordingly we have to see this is a second cluster and this is the third cluster, right? So guys, are you okay with this? And if we do this visualization, you should be happy to see this, guys, that now we have 3 different okay, what is that? C argument must be MPL color. So did I make something wrong, guys? Oh, okay, this is wrong. It is has to be green, right? So it is so. कोड लिखते टाइम पे कई बार ऐसा हो जाता है, it's a very normal case. So see this, guys, that's there, guys. So can you see, guys, one cluster, right, which is in red, right? So iska matlab this is our second cluster, right? This is the second cluster. The cluster in green color is third cluster and this is our first cluster. So guys, are you happy now that we have now finally we are able to visualize them using a color? Can we draw their centroids as well? As of now, we are not able to draw the centroids. Can we draw a centroid as well, guys? Yes, we can draw a centroid. From where to get the centroid locations? guys? Is that possible? From where, from where to get a centroid, you know, in the centroid, right? Can we do that, guys? Is it possible, right? Uh, yes, we can do that, right? Uh, you know, see this, guys. What happens here? Uh, Under this object, K means only. Under this object, guys, K means, right? We have a property, right, that has the information about clusters that is known as cluster centers, right? It will give us the three centroid xy coordinates. तीनों x, centroids का xy coordinate हमें इससे मिलेगा. See this, guys. We have got it, right? We have got it. See this. This is the first centroid. जिसके xy coordinate ये है. This is the second centroid, and this is the third centroid, guys, right? So that's there, guys, right? So that's there, right? So now now you can easily understand this concept now, that from features we are only picking those points who belong to cluster 0 and only their x coordinate, right? And similarly from features we are picking the points which belong to cluster 0 and only the y coordinate. So we got the x and y both, and then we were able to draw them in a different color, right? And now finally, guys, what I can do, if I'm interested in only the x coordinate of these centroids, right? If I'm interested in, तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा? सिर्फ x coordinate निकालने के लिए मुझे I will have to pass on this. So I will only get these values: 9.47, 40.68, 69.92 if I do this filter. So I got x values only, and similarly I can get the y values as well, right? So I will get the y coordinates from centroids. See this, guys. So now both of these are separated from each other. So we can finally use a one more plt dot scatter method, guys, right? एक और scatter method हम use कर लेते हैं, and this time we will use the x coordinate of the centroids. The y coordinates of the centroids, right? So y coordinates of the centroids, right? And maybe let them print in c is equal to yellow, right? So I think that should work for us, yellow, right? So इस तरीके से हमने जब इन चारों कोड को रन किया, so now you can see, guys, right? Can you see, guys? We have drawn the centroids as well, right? Centroid as well. समझ में आया, guys, कि कैसे k-means को हमने use किया to cluster our data into 3 clusters, right? And finally we were able to make a visualization of those clusters in different color as well. अब एक सवाल रह गया है, एक सवाल है जो अभी तक जवाब जिसका हमें नहीं मिला है. तो सवाल ये है कि सब आपने 3 क्लस्टर ही क्यों लिए? आपने 2 क्यों नहीं लिए? आपने 4 क्यों नहीं लिए? Right? Okay, in this case I was able to see the visualization beforehand, but अगर ये data 5 dimensional होता, 5 features होते, 10 features होते, तो I was not able to draw the visualization, right? I was not able to draw the visualization, right? And if I was not able to draw the visualization, I could never got information that 3 clusters will be, the best, clusters here, right? So now, guys, right? Now, guys, what I need to do, I need to find out a way that in a given data set, how to find out that what is the optimal number of clusters. Guys, do you copy this problem, what I'm saying? How to find out in a given data set, and this will keep on changing from data set to data set, right? Problem statement to problem statement. How to find out, right, that what should be the right number of clusters in your data set. And for that purpose we have to understand a one concept, guys, right? We have to understand a one concept. See this. So what the concept is, see this. अब ध्यान से सुनना, सभी लोग, बहुत important concept है. See this. See this, guys. We have 3 clusters. For example, we have 3 clusters. Okay, this is C1, this is C2, and this is C3. Okay, this is the centroid for this cluster, this is the centroid for this cluster, and this is the centroid for this cluster, and we have a couple of points here. So let's say 3 points here, 4 points here in this cluster, and 3 points in this cluster. Okay, now we use a property that is called as WCSS. We use a property called WCSS. What it is, what it does, I'm just going to explain that. It is called within cluster, right? Within cluster, sum of squares, you know, within clusters, sum of squares. What it means, guys, right? So to calculate WCSS for this cluster, right? So what we do this distance calculations, as let's say we call it D1, and this is D2, and this is D3, right? So WCSS 1, you know, 1 means the cluster 1 would be like D1 square plus D2 square plus D3 square. Okay, and similarly for this cluster as well, guys, WCSS 2 indicates like cluster number 2. That would be a D1. This is D2, let's say, this is D3, let's say, and this is D4. So we will calculate it as D1 square, D2 square, D3 square, and D4 square. The answers are now. I have a question coming up for you guys, right? So that is there. And similarly for this cluster as well, let's say this is D1, this is D2, and this is D3, right? So that is, you know, distance D1 square, D2 square, you know, D3 square, and D4 square, right? So basically what the WCSS represents, it represents the average distance traveled by people or by data points, right? Average distance का square ही तो है. How? So let's say these 3 people are living in this area, right? Three people are living in this area, right? And they, to reach to the center of the city, right? Let's say there is a hospital, right? So what is the average that they have to travel to reach out to that central location? So central location means centroid. That can be a hospital, that can be ATM, right? So, you know, generally the hospital location, the ATM location, right? All of these locations are drawn in that way that to cater to a nearby, you know, a population, what should be the right location? And basically that right location is actually the centroid. And that's why the K-means is very, very important sometimes, right? Guys, did you get this point, what I'm saying, right? So in policy making, like government decisions, right? Location of the centroid is sometimes important because, you know, that centroid location can be a representation of the population, right? Or, you know, or anything else as well, right? So, okay, guys, and what should be the final WCSS for all of this? So WCSS would be WCSS 1 plus WCSS 2 plus WCSS 3. That would be the overall WCSS, guys, right? That would be the overall success. Okay, now I have a question coming up for you guys. मेरा एक question आपके पास आ रहा है. आप बताइए, please do let me know that, right? What will happen, right, to this final WCSS, guys? What will happen to this final WCSS if we increase the number of clusters, right? So rather than having 3 clusters, right, I keep those points as it is. I keep those points as it is, right? But now instead of 3 clusters, I have 5 clusters, guys. What will happen, guys? What will happen to WCSS? Will it increase or will it decrease? What do you say? So now almost 50% people are saying decrease and 50% people are saying it will increase, right? Okay, now see. Okay, now just hold on and just listen to me, guys, what I'm telling you. And after that, you again give me the answer, whether it should increase or whether it should decrease, right? Again, give me the answer, but first listen to me. Do let me, you know, let me take an example, right? कम ज़्यादा तो होगा, but क्या होगा that, you know, that you have to, you know, give the answer now after listening to me, guys. See this. Let's say, right, there is a city, right? So let's say, guys, there is a city. So I'm just, you know, using this portion to explain that this is the city, guys, okay? And a lot of people are living here. So that is the kind of a population density, you know. This area is, let's say, more dense, you know, a kind of that, okay? And now I'm talking about, let's say, year 2000, right? So maybe most of you may not have born at that time as well, right? हो सकता है आप में से किसी का वहाँ पे जन्म नहीं हुआ हो. And guys, at that time, banks were introducing the ATMs, right? So in this city, let's say this city is Jaipur, for example. So they set up, for example, SDFC Bank, they set up their first ATM here in this location, right? And this ATM is basically, let's say, representation of the centroid, because the more dense population is here. And now, guys, what will happen to WCSS? So this one is square, this distance is square, this distance is square, this distance is square, and this distance is square, this and so on. So now people living in the far, they have to travel more to reach out to this ATM to dispense the money. But now let's go to year 2010. In 10 years, what has happened? Maybe 40 ATMs has come. So now we have more ATMs here as well. So one ATM here as well, one ATM here as well, right? So this guy who was traveling, let's say, 10 kilometers in 2000, year 2000, now he's just traveling 1 kilometer or just half kilometer, right? And almost this happens with every candidate, that no one has to travel more than 1 kilometer or a half a kilometer to reach out to the ATM, right? Earlier people were traveling more. So guys, what you say now, guys, having more ATM means WCSS will decrease or increase? What you say, guys? Because now you have more clusters actually, right? So now what you answer? Will you answer say increase, or will you answer say decrease? It will decrease now. So I think everybody got the point now, right? So if you increase the number of clusters, right? And if you increase the number of centroids, basically your WCSS will reduce, right? Your average distance traveled, right? So that is the case, right? So this is the case, guys, right? And now this WCSS is going to help us to take a call, right? ये WCSS ही हमें बताएगा कि what should be the optimal number of clusters. So हम लोग एक exercise करते हैं. So let's do one exercise, guys, right? We write a piece of code and then we do a calculation like this. हम एक काम करते हैं. We keep on, right, calling the k-means. So I will call the k-means and saying ki bhaiya, just create one cluster for me, right? Just create one cluster for me, right? And I will calculate the WCSS. So this is number of clusters and this is WCSS I'm trying to calculate, right? So I will say if the cluster count is 1, what is the WCSS? If the cluster count is 2, what is the WCSS? If cluster count is 3, what is the WCSS? If cluster count is 4, what is the WCSS? And so, and let's say we go up to 10, for example. If 10, cluster hai to WCSS kya hoga, right? And then what we'll do, guys, we'll try to plot it, right? So I will take on x-axis, I will take the number of clusters. So I will mark it if the number of clusters are 1, then WCSS was this. Because as I'm increasing the number of clusters, obviously WCSS will decrease. So let's say 2 cluster hai to kitna hai, 3 clusters hai to kya hai, 4 clusters. So I will try to plot this like this. So guys, do you agree with me that yes, we can do this way, right? That we can keep on calling the k-means multiple times, and every time I will change the number of clusters while calling, right? So maybe I can use a loop kind of mechanism, right? I can use a loop. I can increase the value of I every time. So I will start I with the 1 and go up to 10, for example, right? And calculate the WCSS. So that is very well possible, guys. So I'm going to just write a one code for you. What I do now, to store the WCSS, right? I'm using I'm using a list, guys, so which is initially empty. So मैं इस list में क्या करता रहूँगा, WCSS append करता रहूँगा. That what is the WCSS when the cluster count is 1? What is the WCSS when cluster count is 2? So I will keep on appending those values here in this list, right? And now I'm using a for each loop, guys. So for For example, for each I in, एक लिस्ट बना देते हैं. So let's say this is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10, right? So what will happen, guys? You can easily understand that, you know, for each I, if I just do a print I, so every time I will keep on changing, right? So every time I will keep on changing. So for each I, so you can see, guys, right? I'm not interested in printing the I, but I just need to pass on the value of I to k means. So अब मैं क्या करूँगा? I will use this here. I will use this concept here, guys, right? Here. So I will use this. तो यहाँ पे मैं आ गया हूँ. I'm just doing this, and this 3 is not fixed now. This is dependent on I, guys. Now I will keep it I, right? This is dependent on I now, right? And now I will pass on the data to calculate the, you know, k means. WCSS, तो मैं सिर्फ fit method apply कर रहा हूँ. I'm not interested in dividing the data, you know, to multiple groups. वो कर देगा, लेकिन I'm not interested in getting the prediction कि वो किसको किस में गया. I'm just only, you know, interested in calculating the WCSS, right? So this way, and then what happens, guys, to calculate the WCSS, this object has a property which is called as inertia. So I'm going to use the k means, you know, dot inertia, right? Dot inertia underscore. So guys, what is the inertia means here? This will calculate the WCSS for us. See this, guys, I'm just printing this value, right? Print this value WCSS here, right? So every time, so see this, guys, when the loop runs for the first time, it will only create one cluster because I is 1 in that time. So when it runs for the second time, I becomes 2, and then it will create the 2 clusters, and so on and so on. So every time it will create a, you know, a cluster and give me the value of WCSS. So now see this, guys. Oh, something is wrong. Inertia. Oh my God. Right. So this is wrong. So okay, I think it should be fine. Okay. See, guys, can you see, guys? It is printing and it is getting calculated now and now. So this is the WCSS when the cluster count is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And guys, can you see that every time this is decreasing? Can you see, guys? Every time this is decreasing, right? Every time this is decreasing, right? So now see this, guys, what is happening? What is happening, guys, right? Can we actually, you know, do this plotting? Can we do? So rather than printing, guys, right? Rather than printing, what I can say, मैं इसको WCSS में डाल देता हूँ. तो कैसे डालते हैं WCSS में? Can we use the append method, guys? Yes, we can use the append method, right? See this. WCSS dot, you know, append. So now WCSS will have all the values. Okay, now guys, I'm just doing a PLT dot plot so that I can clearly see what is happening to my, you know, so PLT dot plot now. I will use this list that is, you know, the count of the clusters, and after that I can, you know, a WCSS here, guys. See this. So see this, guys, what happens, and now you can see. See, guys, जब cluster count 1 था, that was WCSS. The cluster count 2 था, that was a WCSS. The cluster count 3 था. Okay, guys, can you see? Can you let me know at which point? Right, at point 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6, where you see the maximum fall, right? Where do you use the maximum fall of the WCSS? Where you see the maximum fall of the WCSS? It is at 3, guys, right? यहाँ पे थोड़ा कम हुआ, यहाँ पे एकदम कम हो गया, and after that you can see बहुत ज़्यादा कम नहीं हो रहा है, right? ये बहुत ज़्यादा कम क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? Because now we have reached to a saturation point. Now we have reached to a saturation point, right? There are so many ATMs in the city now, right? कि इधर भी जाऊं चाहे इधर जाऊं, right? Both way, both of the distances are same for me, ना? Not much different. So इधर भी जाऊं तो भी 300 मीटर ही चलना है, इधर भी जाऊं तो भी 300 मीटर ही चलना है, right? And that's why now there is no too much fall of the WCSS for me. where you see the maximum fall is considered as the optimal number of clusters in your data. Guys, did you get it? Where you see the maximum fall gives you the optimal number of clusters in your data. अगर ये 3 पे आ रहा है तो 3, अगर ये 5 पे आ रहा है तो 5 पे, अगर ये 10 पे आ रहा है तो 10 पे, ये 15 पे आ रहा है तो 15 पे, right? That would be the right number of clusters for you. Guys, कैसी रही कहानी the k-means की? That is, that completes our story around k-means actually. Nishina, this inertia is just telling you the WCSS, right? This inertia calculates the WCSS for you. It's an inbuilt property, right? So rather than you calculating the manually, you can use that parameter. Otherwise, you can do the manual calculation as well. बता दो भाइयों, समझ में आया नहीं आया, उससे पता चलता है कि guys are you getting it or not. So guys, taking 1 to 10 here is not fixed, right? You can keep it up to 5 or you can take it more than that. It is not fixed, Sri Harini, right? If you see you're not getting the fall, and there is this line is not kind of flat now, you can continue to increase, right? And but if you see that your flat has arrived, you can there is no need to check for more clusters now, Sri Harini, right? अगर ये line flat होने लग गई है तो फिर ज़्यादा clusters की ज़रूरत नहीं है. You will find, right? So that is this. Yeah, Alan Jose, you're right? So Raghav Singh says, sir, the way you are teaching is awesome. Thank you, Raghav. Right? So that marks our, a closure of unsupervised machine learning, right? Unsupervised machine learning. And guys, one more thing, I just tell you, right? If some of you guys are from research domain or are you from academics, right? The diagram that you finally get out of the k-means, clustering, these diagrams are called as Voronoi diagrams, guys, right? Right? So, Voronoi diagrams are these. Naman, you can divide your data into 5 clusters. Don't worry about that. You can do that. 5 में बता सकते हो आप इसमें, right? That's there, right? So, guys, if you see, while calling in the loop, I'm just calling the fit method. But while calling there, I was doing fit predict. So when you call fit predict, right, corresponding to each feature, you get the cluster ID. जब हम fit predict को call करते हैं, तो हमें हर point का cluster ID मिलता है. When you are doing the fit only, it never gives you the ID कि कौन सा point किस cluster में गया, right? That is there. That is the difference. K is a number actually, right? K is a number, right? So Mihal, K is a number, and the k-means is very much used in designing, right? K-means is very much used in designing. Guys, let me understand, make you understand that where to use the k-means, where it is being used in the real life, guys. So let's say this is city, guys, right? This is the city, right? And now there is a population distribution like this, guys. Okay, guys, this is important for you. Okay, and now government is saying that they are going to launch an ambulance service, right? They are going to launch an ambulance service, and in that ambulance service there are 5 ambulances, right? There are 5 ambulances, guys. Do you agree with me that we can give an initial location of the ambulances, right, by dividing this city into 5 clusters, right? हम इस city को 5 clusters में अगर divide कर दें तो हर cluster का जो centroid होगा वही तो ideal location होगी ambulance की, so that it reaches to the patient in the minimum time in that area on an average. ऑन एन एवरेज सबसे मिनिमम टाइम में वो तभी पहुंच पाएगी एम्बुलेंस जब वो अपने सेंट्रॉइड लोकेशन पे होगी. मेहुल जायसवाल, आर यू ओके नाउ? डू यू अंडरस्टैंड इट नाउ? राइट. सो ये रियल लाइफ इसका यूज है. इट इज बीइंग यूज्ड वेरी मच इन रियल लाइफ, राइट? सो दैट इज देयर गाइस. So that is see this guys, right? So so that is here. So so basically WCSS is just a calculation of the average distances. WCSS is just a calculation of the average distances कि centroid से average distance क्या है, right? Sean Fernandez कह रहे हैं कि sir, how the plotting is done when we have more than 2 features? It becomes very difficult, Sean, right? Because 2-dimensional plotting is very easy. 1-dimensional plotting is very easy. Then we go for a concept. If you have more than 2 features, guys, sometimes you go for a concept that is called as dimension reduction. Right, so dimension reduction is a technique through which what you can do, you can convert your high dimensional data to a low dimension. So maybe you can convert your 4-dimensional data into 2-dimensional and then you do the visualization. Because as long as your data remains in 4-dimensional, visualization is not possible, Sean, right? So that maybe you can do. That concept is known as dimension reduction. Sean Fernandez. ओके गाइस, अब मैं तुम्हारे सवाल, राइट, तुम्हारे सवाल 10 मिनट बाद लूंगा. फर्स्ट यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड समथिंग फ्रॉम द डीप लर्निंग साइड, राइट? फर्स्ट यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कपल ऑफ बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट्स फ्रॉम डीप लर्निंग. Okay, so first let me finish off this and then we can have a a question answer session later on. उसके बाद रखते हैं सवाल जवाब. सभी लोग ठीक ठाक हैं? Is everybody okay there? Everybody are getting me? Right? Tapashwini Kar, our regular attendees, attendee with our courses. Thank you, Tapashwini. Yeah. पवन कुमार जमशेदपुर, WCSS append का मतलब है WCSS में k means dot inertia को ऐड करना. बस उस WCSS लिस्ट में ऐड करते जा रहे हैं जो हमें मिल रहा है k means dot inertia से. और एक्चुअल में k means dot inertia में WCSS छुपा हुआ है. WCSS जो है वो तो लिस्ट का नाम है. डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज विद दैट, राइट? वो शायद इसलिए कंफ्यूज हो रहे हो कि मैंने इसको WC, ये तो सिर्फ लिस्ट है. लेट्स से दिस इज जस्ट लिस्ट 1, देन इट वुड बी बेटर फॉर यू, राइट? So, and now just say it list 1, right? Yeah. So inertia means WCSS, right? That is there. Now it should be, अब confusion नहीं होगा कि WCSS क्या है. अब इस पूरे example में ये WCSS है. That is being appended to list 1. Pavan, right? Now guys, see this. As I told you, listen to me, this is just a 10-15 minutes kind of a game to understand deep learning. As I told you guys, to achieve AI, right, you have either machine learning or either you have a deep learning, right? Generally, deep learning is applied or deep learning is used instead of ML. ML की जगह deep learning तब use करते हैं when your data is in image format, or maybe in a video format, or maybe in a large text data, right? Kind of these things are there, or maybe a audio data. Then you go for a deep learning rather than ML, right? And as I told you guys, the deep learning is based on which architecture? Neural network. And what are the neural networks? The neural network is kind of a layered architecture, guys. This is the layered architecture, right? So what happens in this layered architecture? The data is given from this layer. This layer processes this data. Then the output of this layer goes to this layer to this layer, this layer to this layer, and this layer to this layer. And finally, you get the prediction here. Prediction हमें final layer में जाके मिलता है. Okay, let me give you an example that how come a neural network has been come into picture. Basically, guys, what happens when we see a image. हमारी आंखें जब किसी को देखती हैं, किसी image को देखती हैं या किसी scene को देखती हैं, in our brain, right, this image which is being captured by the eye, right, आंख हमारी यहाँ पे है और इसने किसी image को देखा, it goes through 5 different layers in our brain, right. 5 layers से गुजरती है वो. यहाँ कुछ हुआ, फिर यहाँ पे कुछ decision हुआ, फिर यहाँ पे कुछ, and finally the 5th layer gives you कि यार इस इमेज में कौन है. अंकित है, अंकिता है, अदिति है, कार्तिक है, रेहान है, कौन है, शॉन है, कौन है, राइट. वो फिर डिसीजन यहाँ पे होता है. This is there, guys, right? So this is there. Now, using this philosophy only, the concept of neural network came into computer science. So whenever you have a large data set बहुत बड़ा है. Generally, the large data set will happen if you have a data in image format or in a video format or a text format or audio format. Then you have to use deep learning, right? And guys, always using deep learning is not a very good idea, right? Always using a deep learning is not a very good idea. ऐसा नहीं है कि deep learning हर जगह ही अच्छा काम करेगी. No. So see this, guys. This keep this graph in your mind. So इधर हम लिखते हैं डेटा का साइज और इधर हम लिखते हैं कि द परफॉर्मेंस, राइट, द क्वालिटी ऑफ द प्रेडिक्शंस. सो गाइस, दिस इज द केस व्हिच हैपेंस विद मशीन लर्निंग. सो ये ग्राफ है एमएल का, राइट, और ये ग्राफ होता है डीप लर्निंग का. सो दिस इज डीप लर्निंग, right? So guys, as the data size is increasing, performance of the deep learning is better than ML, but you can see जब data size ज़्यादा नहीं है, तो can you see, guys, ML is performing better than the deep learning. So this is ML and this is DL, right? But after a certain size, right, यहाँ के बाद, right, so before that ML is very good. इसीलिए ML का importance अभी भी बना हुआ है, and later on you can go for deep learning if your data size is beyond a certain. So ऐसा. So guys, did you get this कि मैंने क्या explain करने को कोशिश किया है कि where to use deep learning and where to use machine learning, right? And now, guys, deep learning is also comes into 2 flavors, guys. A deep learning also comes into 2 flavors. So deep learning के भी 2 flavor हैं. कौन कौन से? Supervised deep learning, right, and unsupervised deep learning. Okay. In case of supervised deep learning, guys, very important. You have 3 things to understand. One is known as ANN, other one is known as CNN, and the third one is known as RNN. And listen them what is they are. The ANN means artificial neural network, right? So whatever we were doing regression and classification in case of supervised machine learning, in deep learning you can use ANN for regression as well and for classification as well. हम ANN के through regression भी कर सकते हैं और classification भी कर सकते हैं, right? CNN stands for convolution neural network. Neural network, convolution. Basically, CNN means computer vision, right? So guys, if you are using, let's say, Facebook, तो जैसे ही आप किसी friend का या अपना कोई photo upload करते हो, it starts giving you a notification. Do you want to tag your friend, right? Do you want to tag your friend? that tagging is basically happening through CNN. या फिर तुमने guys टेस्ला की ड्राइवरलेस कार के बारे में पढ़ा है? ड्राइवरलेस कार, right? The driverless car has thousands of cameras and microprocessors and everything, right? Which captures the image from the environment, right? You know, वो इमेज से समझ के कि आगे ब्रेकर है, नहीं है, रेड लाइट है, ग्रीन लाइट है, पेडेस्ट्रियन है, क्या है, ऑब्जेक्ट है, ब्रेक लगाने हैं, आगे चलना है, क्या करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है, you know, that happens. It is all complete example of CNN, computer vision. Image में cat है या dog है, right? It is all computer vision. There are specific libraries to perform computer vision processing. Guys, have you heard about a library called OpenCV? CV stands for computer vision, OpenCV. There is a one more library called क्या था? YOLO. There is a library called YOLO, right? YOLO is there. That is there, right? So that happens. RNN is called as recurrent neural network. Recurrent neural network, right? A very complex but very important, right? Generally, RNN is being used for used for weather forecasting, you know, rainfall forecasting, or stock price forecasting, kind of that, or sales forecasting. Guys, when you use Gmail, right? When you use Gmail and draft a email, guys, जैसे जैसे तुम यहाँ पे लिखना चालू करते हो, it starts giving you some suggestions here, guys. Do you experience this, guys, when you write this Gmail, right? When you write your Gmail, right, it starts giving you suggestions of sentence or of a word. That all happens through RNN, guys. You know, Google पीछे RNN use कर रहा है, and using RNN, it gives you the predictions. These are the predictions based on what you have written so far. So what you have written so far, based on that, you start getting the predictions right here. This all happens through RNN. So this is supervised deep learning, guys, right? And under unsupervised, you know, you have other things as well. Maybe autoencoders is there, right? Autoencoders is there, right? Clustering also happens here. So even in the, you know, unsupervised deep learning, you can perform, you know, clustering through self-organized maps. SOMs कहते हैं उनको. We call them as SOMs. So autoencoders, SOMs, right? These are part of the deep learning, right? And deep learning autoencoders can be used to create colored images from black and white images, or make a black and white video to a colored video. All of this can happen through autoencoders, right? That can happen through autoencoders. So ये एक मोटा मोटा कहानी यहाँ पे मैंने एक मोटा high level overview देने की कोशिश की है. And now, guys, you know, the way we have used pandas, numpy, right, matplotlib, right, ये तो basic libraries हैं. इनकी जरूरत deep learning में भी पड़ेगी, ML में तो पड़ती थी, so we require them in the deep learning as well. In ML, guys, you were using scikit-learn, right? You were using scikit-learn. In the deep learning, you can use either Keras, or either TensorFlow, right? Or either PyTorch, or either MXNet. You know, a couple of libraries are there, right? And now, Keras is from Google, guys. It is from Google, the most popular library, right, to perform deep learning projects. TensorFlow, again from Google. Open source हैं दोनों के दोनों ही. PyTorch is from Facebook and Uber. You know, Facebook and Uber. MXNet is being used by Amazon, I think. Amazon uses AWS, right? So that is there. So इस तरीके से, guys, you know, when we do run a course on deep learning, जब हम अपना deep learning का course चलाते हैं, तो we do that on Keras. So Python में ही code लिखा जाता है, but we use Keras library. And the good part is that Keras actually uses TensorFlow behind the scenes. So TensorFlow को use करती है. और Keras में important part क्या है? The using of the Keras is same as sklearn. जैसे sklearn की coding थी ना कि किसी class को import किया, object बनाया, fit किया, ये किया, वो किया. The same philosophy is with Keras. So starting with the Keras is very very easy, very easy to start with. तो इस तरीके से यहाँ पे सो डीप लर्निंग में हमें 3 चीजों पे ही फोकस करना चाहिए गाइस. सो ANN, जिसके थ्रू यू कैन परफॉर्म रिग्रेशन एंड क्लासिफिकेशन बोथ. Then CNN, the most hot one, right, and the RNN. Artificial neural network, convolutional neural network, and recurrent neural network, right? That was, the case, guys. So Utkarsh Omarye is saying, sir, this workshop was very informative. More of the conceptual and live coding was good. I will definitely like to join more workshops like this. Do make similar workshops for deep learning. We will do a deep learning, again, Utkarsh, and I hope you have gone for a certificate. You have registered yourself for the certificate as well, Utkarsh. So guys, registrations for the certificate are open till tomorrow, right? वो कल शाम तक open है. Registration for certificate is open. Oh, okay. Sylvester says me the registration for the certificates are open till Sunday, right? Sunday तक open है guys. तो आप जाइए अपने आप को register करें वहाँ पे. मैंने आपको share कर दिया है, right? So that is there. Pavan, ANN is like artificial neural network. That is the basic ANN. That is the basic neural network. और तुमने जो regression या classification उसमें किया था ना using supervised machine learning, all of this problem can be solved using ANN as well. वो problem जहाँ पे हम लोग linear regression लगा रहे थे या SVM लगा रहे थे या KNN लगा रहे थे, rather than applying those algorithms, you can apply ANN and solve the problem of classification and regression as well, right? Manisha More is saying, sir, when we will get the deep learning course? So guys, how many of you are interested if we float a deep learning course? Can you guys press yes or no button there on the survey? आपके वहाँ पे है, आप वहाँ पे जाके मुझे एक feedback दे सकते हैं कि guys, how many guys are open for deep learning? And how many guys are open, like not open for that? So, अगर हम deep learning का course float करें तो guys, will you be interested to join, right? Obviously, it would be a fee-based course, but the fee will never be more than 400 or 500 rupees, guys, right? Fees जरूर होगा उसका, but you will have never a fees more than 400 or 500. 400 या 500 रुपए से ज़्यादा का course, नहीं है. Okay, so guys, around 56 people are ready for this. Around 56, 57 guys. And guys, are you okay with paying a fees of around 400, 500 if we because everything cannot be free. हर चीज तो free नहीं की जा सकती है. You can easily understand that part, right? So would be happy to pay, like would you guys be happy to pay if we keep the fees in that range only, like ज़्यादा नहीं रखें और सिर्फ fees इतना रख दें हम, right? So around so far 25, 26 people are saying that yes, the guys are ready to pay. Okay guys, yeah. So I think we can start a course, and probably that will happen. If happens, that should be around first week of August, guys. That should be the first week of August, right? If you guys. And guys, time from 4 to 6 is okay with you, or can we have something in morning, or like what you say, guys? क्या बोलते हो timing का? So Sri Harini from Valor is saying, so one of the best workshop I ever had. Amazing teaching. Thank you, Sri Harini. Sri Harini, have you registered for the certificate, right? Raghav saying, sir, the way you teaching is awesome. Sir, can you conduct workshop on Android, please? So as of now, we have no plan for Android, Raghav, but maybe in future we can have, this. Guys, your certificates would be delivered to you by Monday evening via email, right? They would be delivered to you by Monday evening. In case you can check your spam folder as well. Sometimes we do send the certificate and it gets in your spam folder. So guys, in case you do not receive it and you have registered for it, just please check your spam folder, and if that is not there, you can contact us again. So just wait for till Monday evening. You will get these certificates, right? Mohan Priya, I have answered your question regarding this. Manisha More is saying, sir, please arrange the deep learning class as early as possible during lockdown would help in reaching our knowledge. Yeah. रजत जालंधर सिंह सर आरएनएन सर ऑडियो में भी यूज होता है क्या? यस रजत, आरएनएन में भी वीडियो अगर तुम फॉर एग्जांपल यूजिंग आरएनएन व्हाट वी कैन डू, वी कैन फिट द आरएनएन मॉडल with all of the let's say RK रहमान म्यूजिक से हमने पूरा उसको ट्रेन कर दिया, and now it will start auto generating a music like RK रहमान. वो म्यूजिक जो जनरेट होगा वो बिल्कुल RK रहमान जैसा ही होगा, although RK रहमान ने जनरेट नहीं किया. Your machine learning is model generating that audio or that music, right? So that is there, guys. Raghav Singh saying, sir, I'm interested for deep learning. Jyoti Totla is saying, sir, I'm interested for deep learning, right? Mahat Gupta, sir, please do a full course on AML, okay? So Preet Sani saying, sir, full course on AML, okay, okay. Sri Harini, what you want to reduce? Mehul Jaiswal saying, sir, I will pay without any hesitation. Manish Samori said, I'm happy to pay. Okay. Preeta Prasad saying, sir, yes, sir, monthly one course should be fine with fee. वो कह रहे हैं कि आप एक कोर्स महीने में फी वाला कर दो, बाकी सब फ्री करो. Okay, Preeta. I think it's an interesting idea. Thank you. Okay. And then Preeta Prasad saying, sir, course on a data analytics too, sir. Okay. Vivek Anand is saying, sir, yes, sir, money is not important. New learning is important. That's a very good attitude, Vivek Anand. Okay. Darshan Mangalore, WCSS is equal to a list, एक empty list बना लो, and that will solve your problem. Okay. Tapashmi Kar is saying, sir, ready to pay, which is around 400. Okay, thank you, Tapashmi. Jyoti Totla saying, sir, do after Raksha Bandhan. Okay, okay, Bhavan, I understand your point as well, right? Malatata saying, sir, no, not in morning. We have to go for walk. Okay. 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 Most of the guys are okay with 4 to 6 time, right? Most of the time, guys. So, guys, can you do one more thing, guys? Can you leave us a review on Google? Guys, I will request everyone to write a review for us on Google, whatever you like, good or bad, whatever your liking was. Sylvester, sir, can you please share the review link, right?
Sure, sure.
Mehul Jaiswal saying, what about the data science? Supreet Sani, sir, please come with the full AML course. Okay. Yashi Harini, you can do that, right? So in that case, your variable has to be pred, not pred underscore cluster. You have to change that, right? So Mohammed Rayan saying, sir, I registered for the certificate. Mohammed Rayan, you will get your certificate by Monday, right? Kanishka for Punjab, sir, your teaching style is really simple and useful. Thank you, sir. Okay. Preeta Prasad Singh, sir, please conduct a course on data analysis as well, right? Bhargav Ram saying, so what about the data science job for freshers? We do help Bhargav, lot of people in getting the job, right? Getting their first job actually, right? So far around, we have placed around more than, 50 people in last 1 year, in various data science positions, sometimes data, analytics, right? Rohit Pawar, Dr. Sylvester will take a Java course, Rohit, right? It is going to be very, very interesting. Sylvester is very good into Java, right? Sylvester got his first Java certification in year 2000 only. उस टाइम पे तुम्हारा जन्म भी नहीं हुआ होगा, रोहित, हो सकता है, right? विवेकानंद अभी हार्ड कॉपी नहीं है, अभी सॉफ्ट कॉपी है, लॉकडाउन पर ओपन हो जाएगा तो उसके बाद हम लोग वी विल प्रोवाइड द हार्ड कॉपीज एज वेल, राइट? Ankit, we are not going for a priori in this session, right? Yes, Manisha More, if you are a faculty, you will get a FDP certificate, right? So data science में जब job चाहिए तो initial में to start with you go for a data analyst job, Bhargav. और जैसे जैसे experience होता है फिर you become a data scientist. So you start with you can, a data analyst can be there, right? Utkarsh Umrai saying, sir, on calendar I saw a workshop on terrorism analysis using Python. I would like to join such real-time problem-based workshop. I missed this earlier. Possible to conduct such workshop again? Yeah, Utkarsh, that is coming again. We would be soon rolling out that and let you know through the masses, right? So Raghav, you can take that data from Kaggle, right? Sushita Tripathi saying, sir, please focus on CNN medical images, right? Soumya Mohammed, Somaya, okay, I'm sorry. Somaya Mohammed saying, I think name is probably, maybe I'm wrong in pronunciation. Sorry for that. Could you arrange a whole work package for Python? Yeah, I think we can do that. Nishina Sagal saying, a very good class, sir. So much information can wait in few hours, right? Sashastri Satpathy, can we use CNN in machine translation? Yes, we can use CNN, like, we can read the text from the image and convert this into, a string or text data. Image se data padha aur usko text mein convert kar diya. That is, there. Pawan Kumar from Jamshedpur saying, sir, your teaching style is good. If you conduct offline class, then I will join, sir. Okay, Pavan, abhi to possible nahi hai offline, but after, things are normal, probably we can do that, right? Mohan Priya saying, sir, conduct workshop on app development using Python. Okay, Mehul Jaiswal, abhi koi data science पे अलग से कुछ नहीं है हमारे पास, अभी we are not doing it, right? That would be there. See, Harini, I told you that the fee would be around 400 to 500, not more than 500 in any case, right? See, Harini, right? So that is there. Divya Gitanjali, the timing is from 4 to 6 for Java, right? That is there. Divya, right? Pardeep Khatri Singh, sir, you are amazing. Please do a full course on AML, right? Tarun Kumar Dasari says, sir, can you teach the data science as well? I'm very much interested in a wonderful session, right? Okay. Okay, Tarun Kumar saying excellent answer. Tarun, अभी तो वर्कशॉप हमारी कोई साइबर सिक्योरिटी पे नहीं है, राइट? ओके, अदिति सांगवान जी, अच्छा. So Aditi Sangwan coming from Haryana Jatland. So yes, Sangwan, हम करेंगे बिल्कुल full course in AML. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Ajit from Bhubaneswar saying, sir, very yes, Sri Harini, you can do that. Okay. Pavan Kumar, after the Java, we are starting a basic course on Python, right? A basic course on Python. Raghav saying review answer, right? Ninja will do a course on data structure and algorithm. We are trying to, right. This Mohammed Rayan, I think it is saying, sir, I was confused since 1 month what to learn in ML, but this webinar gave me a broad idea. I explained and enjoyed a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mohammed. Thanks. Uh, you know, uh, uh, okay. Okay, guys. Athi Lingam saying, so your teaching is very nice. Thank you. Yabapul sir, you will get a DP certificate for faculty. Thank you. Uh, Nishina Saigil is saying, sir, what is your opinion about switching job from teaching background to machine learning, or there is any job opportunity as trainer? If yes, how to proceed? Nishina, both ways are possible, right? If you are from academic background and communication and the teaching deliveries are good, and you can engage people well, I think job as a trainer is also good. And if you want to move into the IT industry, that is very well possible, but for that you need kind of assistance, because directly applying as a teacher to industry, most of the time you get no, actually, right? So in couple of cases, around 5 to 6 cases, we have helped people from teaching, and move to IT industry. So obviously, kind of little bit of a training, little bit of a resume preparation, little bit of experience of working on the projects. So that experience comes when you work with Forsk as a part time, maybe offline or online, whatever it may be, right? So that is possible. So Surendra से एक बार आप बात कर सकते हैं. You can call Surendra. I gave you the number on the first day, right? And that number is also available on the Google Drive in the announcement file. And see this. Mohan Priya Kumar saying, sir, thank you, sir, for this wonderful session. I felt lucky to gain knowledge from you. Workshop is more helpful and more informative. Thank you, Mohan. Raghav Singh says, sir, I wish I could have a teacher like you in my BTech career. Right? Alan Joe Singh, sir, came means assignment with solution, but the topic was for today. I think we'll do that. Shuffling, Alan, and things would be in the right folder after that. Hatim Rangwala, एनएन का एग्जाम्पल आज हम नहीं ले रहे हैं इसमें, right? Yuvraj UV, okay, Yuvraj Singh, all of the session is good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Raj and UV. Okay. Sushrita Tripathi Singh, sir, waiting for your upcoming lecture, basically on DL. Thank you, Sushrita. Gautam RP Singh, sir, thank you so much for this wonderful program. Thank you, guys. Acha laga. I'm just happy to see so many good reviews from you guys, right? And any program becomes successful only when you guys are also involved from your heart, right, and focused. Because मैं चाहे कितना भी अच्छा हूँ, Sylvester चाहे कितना भी अच्छा है, if you guys are not putting efforts from your side, this program is never going to be successful. So thank you guys, for you as well, and putting your efforts and time into that. So see you again, guys, maybe in some new series. You guys are welcome again. Hatim saying, sir, thank you so much for the wonderful lectures. Thank you, Hatim. Bismita Chaudhary from Assam is saying, sir, the best way to take a break from work and relax and utilize time is to join your sessions. Thank you so much. So Bismita ji, आपने हमें entertainer बना दिया rather than a teacher, right? That we are the entertainers. So thank you, Tapashwini ji. Thank you. So thank you, guys. See you again in some near future workshop, and good luck. bye-bye. And again, I'll just recommend all of you guys that go for certificate, guys. And because that is one more way of supporting, because the program is free, obviously, right? A program is obviously free, but that way we also get a sustainable funding, so we can continue to run such programs. Aditi Sangwan says, one more request, sir, please give one class on stability. I think you're talking about statistics, Aditi, right? Because you are from that department, right? From statistics, I think. या हिसार कौन सा गुरु जम्बेश्वर यूनिवर्सिटी और कौन सा है गौतम मंडे को मिलेंगे राइट ओके ओके फाइन या CCSHAU हिसार थैंक यू अदिति देखते हैं अभी आई थिंक स्टैटिस्टिक्स के ऊपर हम लोग कुछ एक सीजन लेके आने वाले हैं बिकॉज वहाँ पे भी थोड़ा सा नल हाइपोथेसिस टेस्टिंग ये वो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं वहाँ पे स्टैटिस्टिक्स में भी काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें हैं प्लॉटिंग बॉक्स प्लॉटिंग ये प्लॉटिंग वो प्लॉटिंग आउटलायर डिटेक्शन ये वो बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं राइट ठीक है Aditi, we take a note for your suggestion. We'll try to go for it as well. Thank you. Thank you guys, bye bye, take care.